The cameras were rolling as the jet-powered car thundered across the vast desert floor, its engine unleashing an earth-shaking roar while the speedometer climbed past 500 miles per hour. Dust trailed behind like a storm, and every member of the crew watched in awe, knowing they were witnessing history unfold. At the wheel sat Jessi Combs, a woman who had spent her entire life proving that talent, determination, and courage mattered more than stereotypes. She was not simply attempting to break a record, she was fulfilling a dream that had guided her for years. On August 27, 2019, on the remote expanse of Oregon's Alvord Desert, she set out to surpass the long-standing women's land speed record established decades earlier by Kitty O'Neill. Jessi admired Kitty deeply and never viewed the record as something to erase. Instead, she believed every generation deserved to build upon the achievements of those who came before. From the time she was a child, machines fascinated her. While other children spent afternoons with toys, Jessi spent hers learning how engines worked, taking apart mechanical components, and discovering how every bolt and gear contributed to a machine's performance. That curiosity became a lifelong passion. She earned respect not because people wanted to encourage diversity, but because she repeatedly proved she belonged. Television audiences came to know her through shows such as Overhaulin', Mythbusters, and All Girls Garage, where she demonstrated genuine fabrication skills rather than simply presenting completed projects. She welded, fabricated, designed, raced, and constantly challenged herself to master new techniques. Yet television fame was never her destination. Her greatest ambition remained land speed racing, one of the most dangerous forms of motorsport ever attempted. To pursue that ambition, she joined the North American Eagle Project, an extraordinary effort that transformed a retired F-104 starfighter jet into a land speed vehicle capable of extraordinary velocities. The machine was unlike an ordinary race car. Powered by a surplus military jet engine producing tens of thousands of horsepower, it was designed for one purpose alone: absolute speed. Every run demanded perfect weather, meticulous preparation, and unwavering concentration because at speeds exceeding 500 miles per hour, even the smallest problem could become catastrophic. Jessi fully understood those risks. She often spoke openly about fear, explaining that courage was not the absence of fear but the willingness to move forward despite it. Her personal philosophy encouraged people to challenge themselves by doing something that frightened them, believing that growth only came from stepping beyond comfort zones. As the team prepared for the record attempt in the Alvord Desert, every system underwent careful inspection. Tires, suspension components, steering systems, telemetry equipment, and the jet engine itself were checked repeatedly. No one underestimated the challenge ahead. The desert offered miles of flat terrain, but even its surface could never be perfectly smooth. Tiny imperfections that would be meaningless at highway speeds could become deadly when traveling faster than 500 miles per hour. When Jessi climbed into the cockpit, she knew she was about to test not only the machine but the very limits of engineering and human determination. Moments later, the engine ignited with tremendous force, accelerating the vehicle down the desert course. Within seconds, the North American Eagle reached astonishing speeds as the landscape blurred into a streak of tan earth and blue sky. According to the official data, Jessi achieved a two-way average speed that ultimately qualified at 522.783 miles per hour, surpassing the previous women's record and securing her place in history. Tragically, celebration never came. During the deceleration phase, disaster struck. Witnesses saw dust rise in unusual patterns before debris scattered across the desert. Communication ceased, and rescue crews rushed toward the crash site. What they discovered was devastating. The once powerful vehicle had broken apart, and Jessi had sustained fatal injuries. The motorsports world was stunned. Friends, teammates, fellow racers, engineers, and fans struggled to comprehend how someone so experienced could be lost during the very run that fulfilled her lifelong dream. Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board carefully examined the wreckage, telemetry data, environmental conditions, and engineering evidence over many months. Their investigation concluded that the most probable cause involved the failure of the front wheel assembly after striking an object or experiencing structural failure at extremely high speed. Once the front wheel collapsed, the forces acting upon the vehicle became uncontrollable. At more than 500 miles per hour, there is virtually no opportunity for recovery, regardless of driver skill or experience. The vehicle disintegrated rapidly, leading to the fatal accident. Although many rumors emerged online, investigators found no evidence supporting sensational theories or deliberate negligence. Instead, the The tragedy highlighted the extraordinary risks inherent in land speed racing, where machines operate at the absolute edge of engineering capability. Jessi herself had never hidden those dangers. She accepted them because she believed meaningful achievements required extraordinary commitment. Following her passing, tributes arrived from around the world. Racers praised her professionalism. Fabricators remembered her generosity in sharing knowledge. Young women entering automotive trades described her as the person who convinced them they belonged in workshops traditionally dominated by men. She had become much more than a television personality or racer. She represented determination, craftsmanship, and the refusal to allow expectations to define one's future. In June 2020, Guinness World Records officially recognized her achievement, confirming her as the fastest woman on Earth with a speed of 522.783 miles per hour. Although the recognition came after her death, it ensured that her accomplishment would forever remain part of motorsport history. Yet those closest to Jessi often emphasize that her greatest legacy extends far beyond numbers recorded on a timing sheet. She inspired countless people to pursue careers in welding, fabrication, engineering, mechanics, and motorsports. Through the Jessi Combs Foundation, scholarships and educational opportunities continue encouraging women to enter skilled trades, reflecting the values she championed throughout her life. Friends consistently described her as approachable, kind, and endlessly curious. Whether mentoring aspiring builders, speaking with students, or helping newcomers develop practical skills, she treated everyone with respect and enthusiasm. She believed success meant creating opportunities for others rather than simply collecting personal achievements. That generosity amplified the impact of everything she accomplished. The North American Eagle team also carried a profound emotional burden after the accident. Many members had devoted years, even decades, to developing the project. They questioned every decision, every component, and every possibility, wondering whether something could have prevented the tragedy. Ultimately, they recognized what Jessi herself had always understood. Groundbreaking accomplishments demand confronting immense uncertainty. She never approached the project recklessly. She approached it with preparation, discipline, and complete awareness of the consequences. Even today, discussions continue regarding whether additional safety systems might have changed the outcome or whether future land speed projects should adopt different engineering approaches. Those conversations reflect the respect people have for Jessi's legacy because improving safety ensures future pioneers benefit from lessons learned through past sacrifices. Perhaps the most enduring aspect of her story lies not in the accident itself, but in the example she left behind. Throughout interviews, public appearances, and conversations with young enthusiasts, she encouraged people to reject limitations imposed by others. She demonstrated that expertise comes through persistence, learning, and relentless effort rather than gender, background, or expectation. She often reminded audiences that fear should never become the deciding factor when pursuing meaningful goals. Instead, fear could serve as evidence that something truly mattered. That philosophy shaped every chapter of her life, from building custom vehicles and competing in off-road races to standing beside engineers attempting one of the world's fastest land speed vehicles. Looking back, her journey becomes far greater than a single record attempt. It becomes the story of someone who consistently chose challenge over comfort and purpose over certainty. Her engine fell silent in the desert, but the influence she created continues to grow through every aspiring mechanic, fabricator, racer, and engineer who sees her story and believes impossible dreams are worth pursuing. Jessi Combs proved that history is not written solely by those who succeed safely. Sometimes it is written by those willing to devote everything they have to expanding the boundaries of what humanity believes possible. Her courage, professionalism, and relentless pursuit of excellence remain an enduring reminder that true legacy is measured not only by records broken but by the lives inspired long after the finish line disappears. VidIQ